minute to go live on Instagram. Fabulous. Okay. Fantastic. So I am here with the absolutely incredible Aimee Hardy, the author of Pocketful of Teeth. And we are here to talk about all the incredible inspiration behind her novel. And also, just to let everyone know that the book is actually on sale, the ebook, for 99 cents through the end of March. So if you're curious, you want to check it out, I would say this is the time to do it. So,
yes, definitely.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's just start with the simple question of so what's the moment that made you say, oh my gosh, I have to write this?
Yeah, so Pocketful of Teeth was really surprising. I sat down, it was right after the pandemic, and it seemed like we got all of our news online. We were connected more than ever, but then also overwhelmed more than ever. So we started to see lots of little local community building events, organizations that popped up after the pandemic. And I was really struck by this fact that even with all of our records that we keep, our modern technology, what really holds us together are the stories we tell between people. And so that's really my focus of Pocketful of Teeth. It has different types of media. So how we tell stories, how we leave them behind. Some are, verbal stories. Some are letters, diary entries, newspaper articles. And I knew early on, Kat's character came to me, and I knew early on I had to tell her story. I didn't know where it would go. I kind of kept her around for a little bit and really loved her voice specifically. And then it came out in this book in this way. So I was really, really pleased when it all came together.
Fabulous. Now, what first sparked Kat's specific story, this story?
Yeah. So it's so funny. I had this line that popped into my head, and it was, "There's a woman in my walls." And I was like, "Wait, who is talking? Who is this woman? What's going on?" And I would just in the morning I would do like morning pages. So, okay, I'm having these, this line stuck in my head. Who is this woman? And then I started to list, well, she can be this person, this person. And she slowly started to emerge. And even when I was writing the book, I had submitted it, to Running Wild and was like, very excited about it. And your first comment of like, who's speaking here? Why is she telling the story? I was like, oh yeah, there's more going on here. And it took some time to really sit with the story and realized, oh, well, this is being presented to us. It's not just Kat that's talking. It's like this huge something else is going on, and that's the mystery of the book that we through reading it that we unfold.
Well said. So why the story now? Why is it important now?
Yeah, and I think it's more important than ever to look at stories as a way that connects us. It can tell us about, who we are as people, but, what do we mean to each other as well? I live in Birmingham, Alabama, so it's very like where I grew up with stories. I'm from right outside of Atlanta. I'm still in the South, so grew up with stories all the time growing up. And I found that sometimes these verbal histories could be more reliable or more true to people than what's actually like on paper. So really liked the idea of this mixed media, especially now where we're finding out all kinds of things. Like we didn't know whole stories about towns, and what we thought was true maybe was what was recorded, but it wasn't the actual, like the whole truth. So I think that's, for right now, it's so important.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, were there any I feel like oftentimes as writers, we will approach a story and there'll be like questions in the back of our heads that we just are obsessed with answering, right? It's like part
Mhm.
of the creation of the full narrative. Were there any questions that you just said, oh my gosh, I've got to get this out?
Yeah, I didn't know who was telling my story for a very long time. Edie Sparrow is our main character. She's like the frame story, and I didn't know who she was or why she was telling the story for a while.
Mm.
And then it was like it came to me one day. I was like, this is a character who doesn't want us to know she's telling a story. Like she's very slick with her words. She's very polished in
Mm.
what she says, so there's something more going on with her, and that's how she came to be. So definitely interested in characters and what they say, but then also what they don't say as well.
Got it. Wow. Now, you already mentioned this a little bit, but who is this story about, and what's at stake?
Yeah, so the core story is about Kat who moves back home after her mother passes away and she has one more year to live in her house. But when she gets there, she realizes it is in fact haunted with her mom's ghost. So she has to really come to terms with her mom and losing her mom. What does it mean to now be a woman in this world who doesn't have a mother, who doesn't know where she comes from or what exactly happened to her mother is something that she can't really come to terms with or face just yet. Um, so yeah, it's really for, I mean, every person who is struggling with, who am I? Why am I here? How do I make amends with maybe the things that I've done or has been done to me in my past? So really anyone. I mean, we all feel these kinds of worries, these fears, no matter who you are. You don't have to be the character in the story or the ghost. You don't have to have a ghost haunting you. So yeah, I had a lot of fun writing it, and it's so great to hear readers saying that they're affected, that they're touched as well.
Very cool. Now, we know this is a dark story,
Mhm.
but what kind of an emotional ride can a reader anticipate?
Yeah, I mean, this was really fun to put together. So I feel like readers can expect that they're going to get, that mixed media experience. It's not always easy because there are like footnotes in certain sections. It really is, a transcript that has a manuscript inside of it with
Mm.
footnotes, and then also these diary entries that Kat finds of her mom's that are very, very important to the story. So I would just tell readers that, to be open, these different types of media are there to really bring attention to the ways that we tell stories.
Mm.
And it's really cool piecing it all together as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, what part of this book did you feel was the hardest to write?
Yeah, I feel like Kat's moms were the hardest to write because hers were diary entries, first of all. So you really had to get into that character. She is a character who feels like it's her against the world, and Kat is the only person that she has. Her daughter, is the only person that she has that who will never leave her. And of course, kids grow up, and they're going to move away. And so I had to kind of sit with all of her feelings while I wrote those chapters, and it was pretty hard. But then also, there's a redemptive quality about them. Kat does come from a long line of strong women. She does have these roots that she can pull from. And it's only when she, allows herself to fully be loved that she can really embrace that legacy.
Oh, wow, I love that. Um, Now, where were you personally in your life when you were exploring the story and it was really taking shape?
Yeah, so this was right after the pandemic. So we were all finding out, who are we after? Who are we
Mm.
after a pandemic, after a lot of grief as well. A lot of people lost loved ones, and our lives have not been the same since the pandemic, right? Things are they're a little bit different in every aspect. So for me, it was all of those things. It was me piecing together the story that I had to tell. I had to get it down on the page because I thought it was so important for readers, especially right then. Um, yeah, and it came from that time in my life where I knew that I had something important to say and I had to get it out there.
Wow. Um, do you feel like writing this changed you? And if so, how?
Mm, I definitely do. Um, yeah, these characters will stay with me forever, and even in new characters that I write, I can almost tell like this character would have hated this character, or like, oh yeah,
Mhm.
they'd be besties. They would get in a lot of trouble together. So even when you're done with a project, they're still always around. They feel like familiar friends at this point. Even Ray, who's terrible, whatever. He's someone that I feel like I know. So I feel
Mhm.
honored to share that with them.
Um, so is there anything that as you were writing this, it like just totally surprised you? And if so, how?
Mm, yeah, I mean, Edie 100%
Mm,
surprised me. Yeah, her role in it is really the reader's role, right? We bear witness to stories all the time, and even when we relate them to other people, they're not quite how they were written. They could change a little bit,
mhm,
and I don't know. She's like my favorite character ever just because she is so complex. We learn through the narrative more about her. You know, she had also lost her mom.
mhm.
She went through a pretty messy divorce and is starting over. Her narrative takes place, during and after the pandemic as well. So it was really cool to see how she was coping with the pandemic. Yeah, and just her very Edie kind of way.
Oh, wow, cool. Um, do you feel like there was a character that you really found challenging to explore?
um, Maybe. So yes, of course. I have a few, and the cat's mom, of course, was a challenge just because she, felt like she was carrying the weight of the world. But then it was
Mm,
also hard to write Ray, her boyfriend, her on again, off again boyfriend. He felt very real just from the beginning. I knew who he was and how he acted. But still, sometimes when we write these characters that they're not real people, but they are, very much like real people. They, in our heads, can walk around and they can have whole conversations. So it was hard to write maybe someone so familiar sometimes because I
mm,
would be like, yep, I know exactly what he's going to do in this situation and I hate it, but I have to sit down and write it anyway. um, because, they're even though they're not real, they are real characters, in the novel.
got it. Wow. Is there anything, and this I know is going to be a much more complex answer, as it should be, because anyone who's watching and they may not be aware, I was actually the editor with Aimee on this one. And the normal question that I typically ask is there anything that almost didn't make it into the book? But maybe it's better, why don't you describe, after you and I first sat down and went over
Mhm.
like editorial notes, and what your process was after that?
Yeah, so, when we sat down, you had asked me, who's telling the story? Why are they telling it? Make sure that we have this clear purpose of how these narratives fit together and the why of it all, and just make that very clear. And I really took a step back and said, okay, I know for a fact, Kat's story is important. Her mom's story is important. I had that. But then I also had like, there was a letter at the beginning that introduced it as a sort of meta experience, right? And I had references to, the footnotes in the bottom, like someone's writing this. So I knew that I had to come up with, okay, well, who is telling this story? And again, they were just so it was almost like I was looking at the story through a piece of glass. Like that's how this character was. And I was like, if I could just bring this glass into focus, I would know who is telling this. And then one day it did. It was like, if I could use a metaphor, like the light shone and there was like a reflection. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's Edie. The reader, that's our role, is we're pulling out this manuscript, we're relating the story, but then again, she has, secrets of her own, just like we all have these untold lives that we don't share with people.
Mhm.
So it was really cool to see her take shape. And then after that, it was really cool to see, all the line edits and then getting it ready for publication. We had so much response on like social media, and a lot of the reading groups were so excited for this to come out. So it was amazing during release day to have all these people with blurbs ready to go, with this excitement of, we want to read this in our book club, we want to get this going, do you have discussion questions? So yeah, the whole process was so cool. But I approached it with that reader first mind, right? Made sure that I had the discussion questions, and I was reaching out to those groups who were very, very excited about it, and getting the word out to others that might not have heard about it yet. So yeah, the whole process was so cool to just experience firsthand.
And I mean, in reality, the manuscript you first sent to us, the
Hmm.
revised, was so completely different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, uh, which is why I think the question of is there anything that almost didn't make it into the book? It's more like you took the concept that you walked in with and the
Hmm.
characters that you walked in with and said, wait a minute, no. What are they what's really going on? What's
Yeah.
the overall framing of the narrative?
Hmm. Yeah. And yeah, that was the coolest thing, I will say, is not all of the pieces that I had originally made it in, but I knew that I had the freedom to make mistakes, if that makes sense. Like, we had already had a manuscript that was worthy of publication, right? And now I had sort of almost like a permission to up level everything. And
Mhm.
I credit that whole process, you specifically, the whole process with like the awards that Pocketful of Teeth got. It got Best Book in Alabama from Alabama Media Professionals. It won a Silver Faucian for 2024. So definitely had a greater impact. But it's because I had that permission of, oh, well, it already has been accepted for publication. We do have these other things that are kind of going on that maybe we haven't explored all the way. And so we just sort of up leveled it because of that.
And I honestly, though, I think it was 100% a collaboration, right? That you were open to sitting down and us brainstorming the questions and
Hmm.
figuring out, like, okay, uh, how can we make this something where people they're not just going to want to be engaged in it, they're going to be obsessed with it, right?
Hmm.
And you did such a stunning job, as evidenced by one of the best books of the year by Kirkus, by all of the additional awards. So,
Hmm.
definitely, definitely a huge collaboration. So,
Yeah, it was so fun.
um, who do you think will actually like fall the hardest for the book? Or actually,
Hmm.
and you could actually even pull from all these great book clubs and such that have already reached out.
Yeah, I will say usually my work sits right in between literary and horror. It's in that sort of sweet spot. So anyone who loves literary books, anyone who loves thriller, or I guess horror kind of aspects, right? It's a really a mesh of the two genres. But definitely book clubs, they have really, really liked it. They usually like literary, things about characters and what they're going through. But yeah, definitely has some supernatural elements that make it fun. I don't think it's too scary. Horror authors will be like, "Oh, it's fine," and then some of the literary people are like, "It gave me nightmares." So it definitely depends. There's a little bit of ghost, supernatural, but
Mhm.
nothing gory, definitely not.
Understood. Is there anything that you've had readers reach out to you and say, "Oh my gosh, I so wasn't expecting that?"
Yeah, the end. No one expected the end.
No, that's yeah. Yeah, I actually got that feedback as well. And but yet when they got it, they went, "Oh, wow," like, it totally made sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, they completely
Yeah.
got it, but it's just it wasn't something that they could have anticipated, which I found
Mhm.
fascinating, you know?
Yep. So cool.
So cool. Oh, yeah. If someone reads, like, let's say the first 20 pages, what keeps them going?
Yeah, I feel like it's Kat. She's 17, so she has to spend a year in her childhood home to reach 18, so she can move out and she can go to college and carry on with her life. But for that year, she's in this sort of purgatory of what does it mean to lose your mom? How do you carry on after something so terrible? And then also she falls in love and she has to learn how to let people love her. She's never done that before. So definitely would stay engaged with Kat and find out what in the world is going on with this house. Is it haunted? What is going on? That I feel like is the core of the story is Kat's voice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Her voice definitely
Hmm.
drives the narrative, absolutely. Is there a specific mood you feel like readers should be in when they first, like, dive into the story?
Yeah, I think if you want something a little spooky, not too spooky, but and also come in with an open mind. It is
Mhm.
very meta. It's a little experimental. So, you're supposed to piece together the clues. It's not going to just, in your face tell you exactly what's going on at each turn. And this is what you need to feel here. And this is what you need to think of at this moment. It really does leave it up to you as the reader to kind of put these pieces together as you go. And then, in the end, when our main characters do put all of the clues together, you're right there alongside them. Like, oh yes, this yes makes sense, and wow, was not expecting all of it to come together like that.
Oh, yeah, totally. Absolutely. Now, in one sentence, why should someone pick up this book?
Yeah. Honestly, it would be to, of course, support the arts.
Mhm.
Definitely just great, great stories who are told by people who have, something to say about what it means to be human.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Very well put. Very well put. Now, is there anything else that you want to mention or bring forward, or anything else that we want to talk about?
Um, I mean, honestly, like this is such a great time for stories. I think it's essential now more than ever. So I would urge anyone listening to make sure you're reading. If your outlet is writing, go write. But if it's something else, definitely put yourself into it because the arts, expression, invention, these are all things that make us human. And I would really encourage everyone to make sure we're not just numbing ourselves with news or with trying to block everything out because of the news. It's important to connect with each other and to keep being creative. I've been writing like crazy during this time, so I have been really inspired by my own writing. And also, there's some great stories out there right now. Yeah, go look at the bookshelves, go check out some movies, some TV shows. There's some really cool art happening.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, honestly, um, I know technically speaking, Sinners is, an industry film, right?
Hmm.
But I actually consider it art because
Yeah.
if you anyone who's a writer, if you have the opportunity to actually read the manuscript, I heavily encourage you to do so because to
Hmm.
see um, how he's intertwined so many different genres and narrative styles. I mean,
Hmm.
it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. And then bringing it forward in a visual form and having such brilliant performers and
Hmm.
to me performers include like the people who came up with the costumes and the locations, and
Hmm.
some brilliant artists. uh you know Aimee, to your point, right? I mean, this is truly a stunning time to be alive and to see such incredible art.
Yeah, it really is. And it's in all, like you're saying, it's all forms. It's not just writing or just movies. It's, I mean, everything, the costume design, the talent involved, yeah, locations. And Sinners is something that I would not have thought Hollywood would have put on, right? Like
Mm,
you're saying, there's so many different like influences in it that don't to a mainstream audience that might not make sense, right? But it does, like, this is the reality of how people live, and then also the reality of what happens when you put together all these different art forms at once. It really does create something beautiful.
oh, absolutely. I completely agree. And Aimee, as always, oh my God, we always have so much fun together. And I thank you so much for joining us for another inspiration behind the stories. Again, anyone watching, please check out Pocketful of Teeth. And if you have the opportunity to check it out in the month of March, again, ebook, 99 cents. Definitely don't miss out on this great opportunity.
Yep. Thank you guys so much.